Guys, today is the day. RB20 is going in the car. If you're new to us and this show, my name is Nick Lanza. This is our 240SX. We have been doing a ton of work in this car. There's plenty of stuff that's been added, taken out. Like, there's no bolt in this whole chassis that hasn't been turned by us. As of right now, aside from the fully built suspension, we've now got an R32 subframe in the front of the car. And we're actually gonna start today's episode back here. We gotta drain this tank so when we put the new fuel pump in and prime it for the engine when it goes in later, we don't accidentally put really old 87 in the thing, because an RB20, obviously is a turbo car, you want the 93 or the highest grade octane you can get, not 2-year-old 87. Now, right here is the cover for the actual fuel pump assembly. As you can tell, these bolts are, well, pretty rusty. I'm gonna go find my screwdriver and see if I can't crack those loose. If I can't, or I start risking stripping them, I'm gonna go get a socket and then pull them off. But we definitely want to disconnect this battery. It might be dead and the circuit might not even be touching anything, so it doesn't actually discharge, but don't want to run the risk of accidentally zapping ourselves, because it's not a fun time. After spending several minutes trying to fight with the screws that hold our pump in place, our friend Yilmar showed up and helped us get the pump all the way out. You don't need to be Hercules, you just gotta be the God of War.
Exactly.
So the evil one comes straight out. Oh, that's some yellow gas though. Oh man, it's ancient.
This one's upgraded by the looks of it.
What size is he?
I don't know. It just doesn't seem all.
He doesn't look like an OE one, does he?
Nope.
Oh no, it's in good shape. The sending unit looks perfectly good.
The wires look new too.
We were able to start pulling fuel. That gas is rusty as all get out. It's not looking good. And while this nasty old gasoline from a couple years ago gets drained out, we began the process of hammering out the firewall. This is a requirement for any given RB swap, as it clears the starter and makes just enough room so that you can fit the transmission perfectly. As far as, because I know people are going to ask the question, how far do you bash that in? Yilmar, your best explanation is what? Basically from your palm forward?
Yeah, palm. So it's like the start of your palm to the end of your fingers. Clearly, depends on how big your hands are.
But that's going to be the best way to measure how far that is. My guess, that's about 4 inches deep. And you really don't have to move it that far. I mean, you can see the difference between one side and the other. Like, that's about as demonstrative as we can get without, tape measuring and saying, chop this much out, because it's, you don't have to be that aggressive about it. There's really not that much that has to get knocked in. As you can tell, there's a tiny bit there. So, yeah, we're almost done taking the bumper off. We want to get the bumper off to get the condenser and the condenser fans and the rest of those lines out of the way. That way, when the engine's in, we can just reach straight through if we need to, say, adjust a belt, change something timing-wise, whatever. It makes life a lot easier just to make sure that we have everything straight once it's in the car. This man's hands are so small. So he's able to reach straight through the entire car to undo these bolts. So if you're gonna do this at home, you just need a Yilmar. Yes. After some more doing, we were able to get the bumper all the way off and proceeded to remove more of the AC and power steering parts still left in the car. Now, it's time to put in the RB. To begin, we moved the RB out of the corner of our garage on the tire it still sat on to set up our hoist around the engine. After this, we used our handy dandy seatbelt to wrap around the engine to lift it up off the ground, in addition to a chain to help support the tail end of the transmission. But this is where the craziness begins. Where is he? Is he back in there?
He went in that corner.
Oh, you gotta be kidding. He's never getting out of there. Found the rat. We're trying to gas him out, but he's way in there.
Yeah, he's deep in there. That's fine.
Wow. This is for the goon squad for sure. Is he running?
He's moving.
That's right, people. Future editor Nick is here to tell you that a rat was living underneath our RB20 this entire time. Don't worry, we're humanely trying to get rid of it. As of right now, he's still in the garage. We have no idea where he went to, but we did leave out some stuff for him to try to eat, so that hopefully will cause him to perish so we can get him out of there and disinfect everything for the 5th time, because we've been trying to get rid of him for months. Now, back to the install. After being defeated by Chuck E. Cheese's younger cousin, we eventually got the RB in the air and into the engine bay somewhat. We had to do a little bit of rearranging and readjusting, but eventually the motor sat nice and pretty after a little bit more massaging in the firewall. And just like that, it's in the car. It stays pretty good in there, actually.
And that's with the transmission sitting on the floor, though.
That's with it on the floor, but that'll bring the front end down when it's like fully in there and we can bolt the engine in. Nice job. That's all around. Yilmar was the clutch on this one for sure, though. You provided information neither of us knew, and that was definitely that corner. We just didn't know how and how much and how far. And I gotta say though, Colton, you can't have that. That was from the old Laurel, and we swapped it onto this block. We kept a piece of that project. So we had to ratchet this side up because with like the weight of the turbo and the fact that the engine itself is canted slightly to the right, puts all the weight on this side, and this side will dip. So if you're able to counterbalance it like we did to kind of help straighten it out, it will line up a lot better and will fall into place. And thankfully, with the R32 subframe, it sits perfectly in this engine bay. After hours of research, tons of work, and chasing down a rat out of the garage, the RB's in the car. I don't know if the rat's actually out of the garage. I wish I had that on video. We had a rat invade our space and make a nest underneath the engine block, but hey, at least the engine is now in the car, rat-free, and we've already got stuff laid out to try and get rid of them. So hopefully it'll work and we won't have to worry about them trying to eat stuff like my Forester engine. But needless to say, engine is in the car. As far as what's been done with it, we just have it in the car. We have not wired it up yet. There's actually a handful of pieces that we need to get in the mail first before we can get started with the wire up. Namely, we have a Chase Days power steering kit that's going to be going in on the now left side of the car. Normally on the S13 it's on the right here in America. We're going to add one to the left. There's also a few other odds and ends like a new Mishimoto intercooler and radiator setup, and there's just a bunch of little things that have to show up. So for now, this is on pause. We'll get back to this, and as soon as we do get back to this, the goal is to wire it up, get that joker started, put the fuel pump officially in the car since we're missing a couple of pieces for that, and then off to the races, or more namely, Fat Burnskis in the cul-de-sac there. But if you enjoyed this video and you thought it was entertaining, well, check out this guy right here. This video, it's a good time. We had a lot of fun, and I think you'll enjoy it as well. Watch it. Do it now.